a hostess who lights a fire on a set, a gendarme who breaks his face on live TV, a journalist who is very bad at drawing. It is always on television that the most unusual incidents happen. Make yourself comfortable and enjoy. No, admire these hilarious sequences taken from TV shows. On Swedish television, this host always has the habit of doing a cooking sequence with one of her guests. That day, she had to prepare nuggets. She put them in a pan and started to fry them. But at one point, she decided to flip them, chef style. You know, that famous, very technical gesture that very few people know how to do? She didn't know how to do it either, because when she threw the nuggets towards the sky so that they would flip, half of them fell on the work surface and the other half on the cooking plate, which automatically made a huge fire break out on the tray. The woman then panicked when she saw the height of the flames in front of her. Flames that refused to go out despite her high and clumsy machine movements. Fortunately, after a few minutes, the fire finally went out. The poor hostess had the fear of her life because she was close to lighting the fire on the whole set. More fear than harm, but I don't know if she will still have the right to host the cooking section. I think it's over for her. On BBC Channel, a cameraman and a reporter went to a farm to shoot a story about animals. One of the two cameramen started filming the interview with the owner of the farm to give material for their report. The reporter pulled a book towards her to feed him, but the book was very hostile towards her. He is going to let her know it by still not at the level of the knees. The journalist is going as well as possible to hide his pain and preferred to smile to the camera. Minutes later, it is the turn of the other cameraman to film himself with the goat. He also offers him food to attract him to him. But the goat was obviously not in the mood to make friends with humans that day. While the cameraman knelt down to get to his level, the goat took the opportunity to encourage him to, but in his private parts. And I can say that the cameraman did not know how to disguise his pain because the goat really hit him hard on this shot. The reporter's team experienced the worst report of their lives, even if it was a successful one. They are back, wounded all over. That's the life of a journalist. This reporter working for the US program Inside Edition was filming a live report while holding the microphone firmly in her hand and being very focused with her interviewee. Out of nowhere, a golden retriever jumped on her and snatched the microphone out of her hand and ran off with it. The journalist didn't understand what was happening to her and didn't see the dog coming either. She had to run after him in front of the camera. Fortunately, the owner of the dog was not very far away because he was able to stop it and allow the journalist to recover her microphone. Once she got it back, the woman wanted to play it fair and go back on the air with the dog at her side. Her report came close to being a failure, although the incident did create a big hole in the schedule and her microphone is good to go. The main thing is that she was able to resume her presentation and finish it with a smile. This singer was on stage live on TV. She was doing a song and dance performance in front of thousands of spectators. At one point, the choreography required her to move her legs back and forth from the outside to the inside and vice versa. A very lively dance step that she had to do dynamically. But she was so carried away by her dance that she didn't see while doing this gesture her panties were pulled down. She didn't realize it until the panties were really down to her calves. I can tell you, she experienced the shame of her life. She pulled it up in shame and continued her performance as if nothing had happened. I'm sure she had no desire to go back on stage after what happened. In the gym, a young man was getting ready to jog on the treadmill, while next to him, a reporter was filming an interview with the gym owner. The man in question is the one you see in the background, well motivated. He stepped on the treadmill, except he didn't see that the treadmill was already running. The person who had used it before him had forgotten to turn it off. So once he stepped on it, the poor boy got a huge blow and ended up on the floor in pieces. The shock was so violent that it did not go unnoticed. The poor athlete must have been in a lot of pain and had to cancel his run. I'm sure that after that, he never set foot in the gym again. So much for the biceps. On American television, a reporter was sent to the field on a thief who had run away after a serious crime. Among other things, she was supposed to show the camera how he did it. But this journalist probably confused fieldwork with underground work. Indeed, while everyone was looking at the television, the lady approached the manhole and mentioned that the thief had escaped from the police through it. But she will not be satisfied with showing it. She is going to put herself in the shoes of the thief. reenact the scene, and show the technique he used by inserting himself entirely and perhaps the first one in the sewer and by letting only the lower part of his body appear. In case there are some who would not have understood, the scene was hilarious and the journalist was well made fun of for this inappropriate gesture. At least we won't be able to say that she doesn't give herself body and soul in her work, but mostly body. On May 13, 2017, at Eurovision, during the performance of a young Ukrainian singer named Jamala, a spectator like no other was among the 200 million viewers. His name was Vitaly Serdyuk. He is also Ukrainian and is known in Ukraine for his numerous hoaxes and stunts. He is also known for having already stalked several celebrities, including Brad Pitt, Adele, and Kim Kardashian. That day, the young man wanted to make his own again, and he especially wanted to be remembered for this hoax. Then he waited that the young woman is well carried by his song and his choreography to go on stage, the shoulders covered with an Australian flag. He took down his pants to show his naked buttocks to everyone. He was immediately restrained by a security guard and forced down. The man was then arrested and presented to the judge 2 days later. This joke must have cost him dearly because his passport was confiscated by court order and he was banned from leaving the country during the investigation. Even if the incident lasted only a few tens of seconds, we can say that he succeeded in his trick. The scene did not go unnoticed since it was live. If some people laughed about it, the Ukrainian authorities did not appreciate the joke because for the Ukrainian nation, the Eurovision represented an important showcase. Nice, the showcase. The 28-year-old man faces up to 5 years in prison and a heavy fine for vandalism. He will have plenty of time to practice his hobby in his prison cell. On French television during a news report, a gendarme was being interviewed by a reporter. He was supposed to show how he set up his speed cameras and trapped drivers who exceeded the speed limit, while he was positioned next to a highway guard. The gendarme wanted to step over the ladder, but he caught his feet in the metal bar and at the same time took a majestic blow in front of the camera. A terribly embarrassing moment for our gendarme who, a priori, should give the strong and unbeatable picture man. For the blow, it is rather this fall which is unbeatable. He will remember it for life, and if he ever forgets one, we are here to remind him. This soldier was with his team in the forest. He was doing hard training to prepare for the most catastrophic scenarios in war. Filmed by one of his superiors, the soldier had to break a pile of bricks with just one hand, a bit like Shaolin monks do. Let's go back to our soldier. He put the bricks on top of each other and gave a first blow. None of them broke. He does it several more times, but fails again. He thought to himself that the brick was tough. He gives it to a colleague who holds it for him to try to break it in another way, but still nothing. The brick refuses to give in. Enraged and not very proud of being shamed in front of all his colleagues, behind and especially in front of the camera that was filming him, he will try to break it with annoyance, but there again, total failure. All he managed to do was to hurt his hand badly and to get a monumental shame. He who dreamed of becoming an unbeatable soldier, it looks like the brick got the better of him. Maybe he should turn to a softer profession, like florist or landscape gardener. This reporter was doing a live newscast on American television. She had to report on a big fight that took place between two different neighborhood gangs. So, in order to explain to the public how the events took place and in which neighborhood, the journalist had a map at her disposal. She had to draw the routes that each of the two gangs had taken before meeting. So, she began by circling the two neighborhoods where the members of the first gang reside. Then, she drew the stretch of road they took to end up in another neighborhood that she also circled. Except that, she did not foresee that this would give a very destabilizing image. Indeed, the freehand drawing revealed a penis. The poor reporter got the biggest wave of her life on live television. Luckily, she didn't realize it until later. Do you think that after that, she dared to show herself in front of the camera again? Stefania Gomez is a young woman of Mexican origin. She has always dreamed of working for a television station and becoming a weather girl. So during all these years of studies, the young woman did everything to shape a dream body and a perfect doll image in order to give herself the best chances and the means to be selected. Except that in Mexico, it is always hot. So, seeing a sexy young woman strutting and shimmying on TV during the weather report, believe me, we don't really pay attention to the temperatures that will be there the next day, but rather to the actual temperatures. To be clear, Since she joined the team and became weather lady, Stefania has made a big splash, and the weather has become even more watched than the 8 o'clock news. Unfortunately, it's not her skills as a presenter that make her a household name, but rather her very sexy figure. Which is not very honorable for Stefania, who studied so much to reach a professional dream. Anyway, the weather girl is still followed by millions of viewers, no matter the reason. And Stefania Gomez will have to put on larger outfits from time to time. It would not hurt her. So what do you think of these funny sequences? Which one made you laugh the most? Tell us what you think in the comments, and if you like this video, don't forget to put a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss anything of our next contents.